What's up, Hardies and Hardos? Back at it. Finally. Hello. What the hell kind of voice was that?
Hello.
Hello.
Just had to introduce myself something different, I felt like being a little weird for the fans today. I think the fans like when I'm weird as hell. I think it's part of my mystique.
Whenever you start the episode doing some sort of weird shit,
can't
my
believe I
dad
just said-
always has comments for me the next day. He always
Does
calls
he?
me up and is like, what the hell was like that one episode when you just screamed right away? Dad calls me up immediately, like an hour after the episode went live, and was like, "What the hell is wrong with Spinny?" First words, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Just had to destroy my eardrums at the start of the episode." I was like, "Yeah, that's Spinny
Yeah.
for you."
Fans probably didn't like that too much, but you know what it is? I'm weird. We're gonna stay weird. Stay weird, Hardies and Ardos.
Stay weird, yeah,
Stay
for
weird.
real. It is. Speaking of weird, it's weird that this is like finally a regular episode for us. I mean, what we
I
dropped
know.
3-4 specials in a row or something like that.
Yeah, we're just rolling on specials.
Yeah, I finally got episode 33 here for y'all. Kind of similar to our recent episodes. We're just going to talk college football and NFL. We're going to recap this past weekend. It was a great weekend for football in both college. I shouldn't say great, given Alabama's
Yeah, it was a
loss,
great weekend,
but
wasn't it? It was a great weekend, wasn't it? I feel
let's
like
just
my face right now is like SpongeBob when he found Squidward eating the Krabby Patties. That was how I feel about you. We're talking about this Bama game right now. I'm just like, Bama lost, didn't they? You like Krabby
oh my
Patties, don't you,
gosh.
Squidward?
Get out of here. Before we jump into that, I do want to just mention I'm 11-6 so far on our college football picks. What we've done it 3 weeks in a row. This will be the 4th week, and so yeah, I'm 11-6 so far. Spinny, how are you doing?
Well, I'm 10-7. Sorry, folks. My computer just gave me the I'm gonna die look. So you lost me on YouTube for a little bit. You might have lost my voice. I don't know, but if it didn't pick up, it wasn't anything important. I'm 10-7, so Bus has got me by one game, like a classic rat move. And I suppose with all the beating I've done of him in trivia, I probably should give him this. I mean, a little
Nice.
bit. Can't win everything.
Nice.
But anyways, yeah. And honestly, I'd have a worse record if we didn't have the game that we're going to talk about first happen. I mean, that they made my picks for the week, kept me out of the gutter for the picks at least, and it was awesome. And I watched it with you in the 20 minutes that I saw you this weekend. All it was watching the end of this game.
The ending
Beautiful.
of it too.
Beautiful.
Just the amazing last minute. For those that didn't see the game or check out the recap, it was Tennessee winning 52-49, quite possibly the best college football game of the season thus far. It was the Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt show for Tennessee. It was insane to watch what Hyatt was able to do to that Alabama defense. He had 6 catches, 207 yards, and 5 touchdowns. 5. Hooker had 380 yards and 5 touchdowns. All of them went to the Hyatt. And 385 yards, 207 of that was Hyatt. So it was just the Jalen Hyatt show this past Saturday. And it was driving me insane as a Bama fan, just watching this man single-handedly beat them. It was annoying. Bryce Young had a solid game in return from injury. I still don't think he was 100% in this game. He had 455 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs really carried the offense, though, for Alabama. 103 yards rushing with 3 rushing touchdowns. So, yeah, extremely high-scoring game. For those that didn't see the ending that Spinny was just talking about, Bama had a chance to take the lead, and with what I want to say 30 seconds left in the game or something like that, maybe even less than that, and just shanked it, missed it. Tennessee goes all the way into field goal range in only 2 plays and is able to knock down the field goal as time expires to win by 3 points. So just it was depressing as a Bama fan, but just as a college football fan in general, the game was amazing to watch. And like I said, quite possibly the game of the year so far. You're muted, Spinny.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Just seeing all what is it? 80, I think it's 85,000 at Neyland Stadium on the field. Like that, I've never seen a field storm with a field that packed before. Have
It
you?
was ridiculous.
I
No,
cannot
I
think of
haven't.
it. Honestly, it was nuts. The field was literally like every inch of it was covered. They ripped the goalpost down. We're carrying it. It was absolutely fantastic. And apparently, it's a tradition to smoke cigars after that game. That's like a thing. So like
I didn't know
everyone,
that, but it
I
is.
didn't
Yeah, I
either.
guess.
And so everyone had cigars with them at the same time. So it was like, you know, 40,000 cigars going on in Neyland and 80,000 people on the field. And I'm obviously exaggerating, not all those people put on the field, but the field was full and everyone was smoking a cigar. It was absolutely crazy. It was awesome.
Yeah,
It was the best of college football, really.
yeah. That I mean, I agree. Honestly, even though I was on the losing side of that game, I agree. It was hilarious that they just tore down those goalposts and one eventually made it all the way to the river. Like
Did it
they just hauled.
actually?
You didn't see that video? They hauled
No.
the goalpost out of the stadium.
Well, I
They
saw that,
left.
but I didn't know where it went.
Yeah, I saw a video of them throwing like it was weird because I only saw one bar, so I don't know if like goalpost broke and it was just a single bar that they threw in the river. I don't know, but they made it to the river and threw that thing in the river. So that's hilarious. I don't think I've ever seen that. Just
That
literally
is
carrying the goalpost out of the stadium. I don't think I've ever seen that.
no, that was crazy, honestly.
Well, I'm done talking about this game. I don't want to bash
Why
them
you don't want
in
to talk about just
defeat.
a little longer? Come on.
I hate
Well, my
bashing in
Bama,
defeat.
my Bama
It's
pick
tough.
finally didn't blow up in my face for once in
Yeah,
my
I,
life,
I
so it
guess that
was
was
nice.
another thing I should have mentioned was you picking Tennessee, but then telling me in parentheses behind your pick, why do I
Yep.
always do this to myself?
Yep.
You don't even have faith
Literally.
in your pick and you still got it right. Just
Yep.
annoying for me. The
Awesome.
next game we want to talk about a little bit, TCU over OK State. This was a great game. Spinny and I both accurately predicted this one, 43-40 in double OT. The story here is that OK State was up 14 points heading in the fourth quarter and blew it. TCU was able to tie it and ultimately defeat them in double overtime. I think TCU must have had a lot of long drives that didn't end up in touchdowns or scores in general in this game. I didn't watch the whole game, so I could be wrong by saying that, but they had 510 yards compared to only 386. So they had 120 more yards than OK State in this game. And time of possession, they had the ball for 6 more minutes than OK State. So it was surprising to me that it even went to overtime, but um, I'm glad that TCU was able to pull that out so I could get the correct pick.
Yeah, I bet you were. Um,
So were you.
I was, and honestly, it was kind of an even game, really. Um, TCU, two more rushing attempts, 43-41, and four more passing attempts. Time of possession ended up 33-26. So it really was an evenly matched game, and this is again great college football going on here. Um, it's funny because it was a high scoring game, but the offenses were really boring, right? We had Oklahoma State run it 41 times, like I said, and TCU 43 times. It's like we're getting hardcore
Yeah.
running the ball. Only 3.3 yards a carry for Oklahoma State's leading guy and 4.7 for TCU. So just a lot of banging it in and throwing it short. 6.8 average for Oklahoma State, 7.2 for TCU. It was just a short passing slugfest. And it was a good game, but definitely wasn't as fun or as offensive as some of the other games, even though it was 43-40.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. Spinny, you have another game you want to talk Utah USC, right? Because this was
Yeah.
one I got correct, you got wrong. So yeah, I know you were pretty high on USC this season, as well, at least in this game for sure. Utah coming off those losses, I didn't know if they were going to lose another game, or two games in a row, I should say, especially at home. Both of their losses this year were on the road, so that's why I had to rock with Utah. They scored what was the I have it right here. 48 seconds left. That's right. 48 seconds left was Rising's touchdown to take the lead, and they went for two. They were ballsy enough to go for two at home and got the 1 point win here against undefeated USC. You talked about coming in about Caleb Williams and God, why am I drawing a blank on the stud receiver? Shouldn't be. Help
Addison.
me. Addison talked about how they were going to take care of business. And I mean, Caleb Williams, he still had quite the day. He had 5 touchdowns, 380 yards. I mean, you can't ask for more from your QB.
Jordan Addison definitely had an awful performance, though, I will say.
He was terrible, yes.
What is it? Two catches, 22. What do we got? Okay, so, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong. It was 7 for 106. So that's not bad. I was looking at Die 3 for 43. I'm tripping out on my own stats here, but yeah. So it wasn't a terrible game for Jordan Addison, but it definitely wasn't. He wasn't the leading receiver, and it wasn't the level I was expecting him to play at.
And Rising, on the other hand, 415 yards passing, 2 pass touchdowns, and 3 rushing touchdowns. So 5 total touchdowns for Rising. Very good performance for him. This other storyline for Utah is the receiver. What's his first name? Dalton. Oh man, I don't even want to butcher. Kincaid. Okay, yeah. Kincaid. 16 catches, 234 yards. Are you kidding me? The rest of the team combined only had 15 catches. He had more catches than the rest of the team combined.
Yeah, Rising was feeding him. I watched most of that game, and he was absolutely feeding him. And I wasn't short balls either. I don't have it in front of me. Oh yeah, I do right here. 14.6 average per catch. So it wasn't like he was just short little dump nation. He got a couple of those on yards after catch, but a lot of it was just strikes, man. Just putting it in the right spot over and over, and he was finding his space. So it was fun to watch.
I'll tell you what, this Pac-12, I cannot figure out this Pac-12 at all to save my life. I have no idea who's the best team, who's the most legit team. I don't get it. Seems like every week I think it's someone else.
Yeah, it's going to be the team with the Big 12 Player of the Year on it.
Ooh, is that
my preseason?
That's a little foreshadow.
Or not Big 12, Pac-12. I'm sorry, I'm stupid, listeners. All right, if you go back to you can go back. I'm not even going to tell you. You can go back to that episode. You can check out who my Pac-12 Player of the Year prediction was, and that's the team that I think is going to get it. Even though it's not what I predicted, but it's just the vibes I'm getting right now. We'll see. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a little foreshadow for our preview. So we might as well jump to our Week 8 preview. I always get the numbers switched up.
I know, I'm like,
college football is a week ahead of NFL. Yeah. So Week 8, college football, another week of good games. I mean, we got 5 ranked matchups here? And first one being 11 a.m. showcase of Syracuse, number 14 Syracuse, at number 5 Clemson. Clemson is a 13.5-point favorite in this one. Just looking at statistics, they're pretty similar, both of these teams on the offensive end, but Syracuse has better numbers on defensive end. I'm not going to lie, but it's just they haven't really played anybody. Last week they beat NC State, but Leary got hurt in that game. That was basically their only opponent they've faced so far this year, a legit opponent, I should say. So I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Clemson in this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Syracuse doesn't have a history and all that. They do seem more for real than I thought based on their performance last week. Not last week. Yeah, last week they beat NC State. So they played really well in that game, and I am more of a believer than I was. I still think Clemson's the better team, and I still think they're going to come out ahead here. If I had to bet the line, I might actually take Syracuse. I think
I agree.
It might be a close game, and you're getting 13.5. So, but I'm taking Clemson.
Yep, I agree with that. I think it'll be Clemson 31-24. I think we're looking at under that 13.5 spread. So, if I was a betting man, I would be taking Syracuse in that regard. But yeah, and I mean, Clemson doesn't lose at home. They haven't lost at home in how long? So I just don't think Syracuse will be able to get it done. The next game, there's two 2:30 games that are great, and one is your Pac-12s. This is kind of the foreshadowing we were talking about. Number 9 UCLA at number 10 Oregon. Oregon is a 6-point favorite in this one. The story of this game is obviously the two offenses. Two very, very good offenses. Yards per game is 512 to 506 in favor of Oregon. So, I mean, these offenses both averaging over 500 yards a game. This should be a shootout. I'm expecting a shootout. I got to rock with Oregon, though, given the home field. I think this one's going to come down to whoever has the ball last, to be honest. I'm going to rock with Oregon 40 to 37 in this one.
I'm taking Oregon as well. Same points you made. And, my boy, the future big Pac-12 player of the year, Bo Nix, leading the offense. I was telling you, you were hating on him. You were hating on him. You called him mid multiple times. I'm just saying.
I did.
This man has been.
You can't blame me, though, after that week 1 performance where he was literally
right.
brutal.
Yeah, he was brutal. But he hasn't been brutal since then. Good for Nix. And, I'm taking Oregon.
The last note about this game, though, is UCLA does have 2 wins in a row now against ranked teams. Their last 2 games were wins against ranked teams. So they're hot. They could definitely beat Oregon on the road. But those 2 wins they had were both at home. So I just don't know if they'll be able to do it on the road as well. The other 2:30 game, this one, Big 12 matchup. We got number 20 Texas at number 11 OK State. I think this is going to be 2 weeks in a row that I'm picking against OK State. I'm not going to lie. Texas is actually a 6.5-point favorite on the road, which I found to be a little surprising there. I don't know. I just think Bajan, is that how you say it, actually? I think so. It is. Bajan Robinson. He's been eating as of late. They got Quinn Ewers back. I just think Bajan Robinson is going to take over this game, and they're going to end up winning this one. I got them Texas Longhorns 35 to 31 with the road win over OK State.
Yeah, I'm taking Texas as well. I think if Ewers can be anything of what he was at the beginning, even 80% of it, that'll help.
Right.
Absolute ton. Robinson's too good for Oklahoma State's defense. He's going to cut them up. I think Texas will get the time possession thing going on with the amount of running that they do. I think Texas has got this, and Vegas agrees with us. So Texas.
Yeah, and you're talking about that bad defense from OK State, allowing 437 total yards. I didn't look up how that ranks nationally, but I would imagine not very good. That is a lot of yards to give up each game. Night game here, prime time. Bama once again, prime time slot. They're on ESPN this week at 6:00. Number 24 Mississippi State visits them. Are you mocking me because I mentioned how
they're on ESPN this week?
Hey, I'm just letting the Hardies and Hardos know. So if they want to go watch my guys get a rebound win here against Mississippi State, they know where to catch it out. I just don't think Mississippi State has any chance. I really don't. Now, what is surprising me, Bama is a 21-point favorite. I get they're at home, but that is a lot. That seems like a lot versus a ranked team. But I don't know. Mississippi State, they couldn't even beat Kentucky last week. I just think there's no shot they're able to keep up with Alabama's offense in this one. I'm taking Alabama 44 to 30.
Yeah, I'm taking Bama. Bama's not losing 2 in a row. Saban doesn't do those things. So
yeah. No, he doesn't.
I'm not I really want to pick Mississippi State in this game, but I just Saban doesn't lose twice in a row, and those boys were not having fun at practice this week. I can tell you that. I would have wanted to be in that practice this week.
Especially that defense. Them boys were getting their asses chewed, that's for sure. The story in this one, though, is the QBs, obviously. Bryce Young versus Will Rogers. I mean, Will Rogers is good enough to maybe keep it interesting. So we'll see how that battle pays out. What's our last game here? We got K-State at TCU, right? I think this is once again me picking TCU. I think this is 3 straight weeks I've picked TCU. They're a 3.5-point favorite at home versus K-State. They have statistically K-State has a better defense than TCU, but they have a worse offense. I mean, that's a given. TCU is literally one of the best offenses in the entire country. This is similar storyline to Mississippi State and Bama. I just don't think K-State will be able to keep up with that TCU offense. And TCU coming in to this week, 3 straight wins against ranked opponents. So if they win this week, that'll be 4 straight games they've won against a ranked opponent, or at least opponent being ranked at that time, obviously. So TCU is playing hot, one of the best offenses in the country. So I got to rock with them, 42-32 over K-State.
I like those points. I just trust K-State's defense to hold TCU down a little bit below their normal averages. And I think K-State is going to do a ton of running in this game. The Martinez and Vaughn combo in the rushing game is huge for them. Martinez 550 as a quarterback and 661 for Deuce Vaughn. The running back, nine rushing touchdowns for Aiden Martinez, their quarterback. So I think they're going to be successful against the Chiefs. It's Adrian Martinez. I think they're going to be successful against the TCU defense doing that, and I think they're going to win the time possession battle. I think it might be just enough to get what I would consider an upset win for them. So I'm going to take Kansas State over TCU.
Yeah, that is for sure. If they want to upset, they definitely have to control the clock. That is for damn sure, and keep the ball out of TCU's hands. That's for sure. Well, that was it for our preview. So check out those games this weekend. I know Spinny and I will definitely be watching. But now we're moving on to the NFL Week 6 recap here. We're just going to start by saying, what the hell is going on with these Thursday night football games? Oh, my gosh. Most boring 2 games I have ever seen. We had a 12-7 win for the Commanders over the Bears this past week. Week 5, we had a, 12-9, I believe, Colts over Broncos. That, for those that are not good at math, that is only 40 points combined by 4 teams in 8 quarters. 8 quarters of football, and we've seen 40 points. Spinny, is this just a story of bad teams playing, or is Thursday night football cursed, and this is just what we're going to get the rest of the year, no matter the matchup?
We had Chiefs-Chargers Thursday night. That was kind of a boring game, but it was a good game late. Browns-Steelers. Brissett played well that game. We also had Bengals-Dolphins with Burrow and Chase going dummy in that one. So we've had some ups and downs. I think it's just the matchups. I mean, Colts-Broncos, atrocious offenses. Like, as far as league ranking-wise, they are brutal to watch. And Commanders, Bears, like, I got Justin Fields and Carson Wentz. Puke. Like, I'm sorry, but that's not a matchup I am loving to watch, even though I think Fields has potential. Not hating on him, just hating on his current weapon status. Darnell Mooney, not been the best this year as well. So I think it's just a matchup thing, but Saints-Cardinals, probably not going to be that good either. I mean, it could be. There's some stars in it, but it also has the potential to be a snooze fest. But then we get Ravens-Bucks. So Ravens-Bucks
is Week 8's Thursday night game. Okay.
And then Eagles-Texans Week 9. That'll be blowout factory. So I'm not loving that either. And then, Week 10 is Falcons-Panthers.
Yeah, so this is what I'm getting at. Did the NFL had to be like, okay, let's throw together the absolute worst slate of games possible and then charge Amazon $1 billion to cover them. I think they just wanted to finesse Amazon.
Yeah.
There's no other way to look at it. These matchups have been terrible. I guess there were some good ones these past couple of weeks, but going forward, that doesn't look good either. So I don't know. 2-4 Saints against 2-4 Cardinals tomorrow. I guess we'll see what happens. But like you said, that definitely could be a snooze fest.
Oh yes, it could be good, but
could be good.
What Cardinals team shows up.
Right, which team is showing up?
I'm not excited to watch Andy Dalton. So
yeah, exactly. The next thing we need to talk about, absolutely need to talk about, is these damn New York teams. What is going on here? Jets 27-10 win in Green Bay.
When's the last time the Jets have won at Green Bay? That's what I want to know.
Oh man,
It has to be a long time
forever.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah, to
So absolutely
to just
crazy.
destroy him too.
Yeah. Sauce Gardner looks like a star.
He
I
is a
didn't
star.
know if that was going to happen, but man, he looks good.
Yeah, he is a stud.
Salah, I still don't know if I believe in him, but there's something going on there, so I don't know. We'll see how the season develops. Dayball, on the other hand, for some reason, I do believe in, but I've just
I
seen a
definitely
lot
believe
of
in him.
solid. I've seen a lot of solid be mid or not get results, and maybe it's just getting the players to catch up with it, and maybe I'm bailing on them too quick. But I haven't been a huge fan. Dayball, I think, makes Daniel Jones look playable, which is really impressive overall. And the only thing, like you mentioned this before, they might have played themselves out of a good quarterback next year, and they might be suffering for the future for that reason.
Yeah, that's true. 5-1. They're not setting up well to get Stroud, Young, all these stud quarterbacks that are coming in. That's for sure. 5-1. That is nuts. The Jets' next 4 opponents: Broncos, Pats, Bills, Pats again. Giants next 4. Very favorable. This is crazy to think the Giants could literally be 9-1. Jags, Seahawks, Texans, Lions are the Giants' next 4.
What?
We
What?
might we might be looking at a 9-1 New York
Daniel
Giants
Jones
team.
led team.
A Daniel Jones led team. Are you kidding me? This is insane. I
Oh.
I mean the Giants only won 4 games last year, didn't they?
Yep, I think so.
They already
Yeah,
have more wins. The
maybe
Jets
five, but
the Jets only won 3 or 4 last year. They have 4 already now. Oh, wow. I guess the turnaround is maybe happening a year earlier than I thought it would. But we'll
yeah.
see. There's still plenty of season left. No, it was the best game of the week. Bills Chiefs. We had the 2 best quarterbacks in the league going head to head. Bills got that done, 24-20 with Dawson Knox. I believe first touchdown. Maybe listeners fact check me on that, but I think it was the
It
first
is
touchdown of the
first
year.
touchdown this season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
game winning with a minute and 4 seconds left, and that was followed up by Mahomes INT. I thought for sure when I saw a minute left on the clock, I was like, man, y'all screwed. You're all screwed over because you're going to give Patrick Mahomes, a minute, and then what? First, second play, throws a pick. Game over.
Pickaroo.
Biggest
Stuff.
difference in this game was the rushing yards, though. Bills were able to take care of that. 125 to only 68 yards rushing for the Chiefs. So that never bodes well.
No, I really loved in this game listening to it how Romo called the score in like the second quarter. He's like, yeah, he
He
literally
calls
called the whole
everything.
he called the whole game though. He's like, yeah, this won't be too much of a high scoring affair. There'll be a lot of yards put up driving the field, but defenses will hold at the end. He's like, we're looking at like a 24-20 game. Exact score, exact vibes. It was just like this man's a magician sometimes. I don't know. It's
He
crazy.
does it
But
like every single week, it feels
I
like.
know. Yeah.
He
But like
predicts something.
this was different because it's like on a way harder level than like he calls plays before they happen. Like that's one thing, like reading formation and like there's some,
Right.
science
There's some,
behind that.
yeah.
But this is like just called the vibes of the game. It was just right. It's just craziness. But yeah, I mean, Mahomes still looked good. Turned it over twice. It's not ideal. Allen, no turnovers. Yeah, that was part of it. And like you said, 125 to 68 yards rushing, and every time CEH ran, it was like felt like
Yeah.
felt like they were running for no reason, and they should have just passed every time. But yeah, great game. Buffalo and Kansas City. I hope it's the AFC Championship this year really bad.
Same.
I really want to see it.
I want it
It's
so
going to
bad.
be a beautiful game. Absolutely amazing offenses to watch.
And so far, my bold 15-2 prediction for the Bills, it could still stand. I had them losing this game, so for them to win. Yeah, maybe they'll be able to get that done. Obviously, tons of season left. I'm sure they got plenty of good opponents left to play, especially your Vikings. We're gonna upset them. Bold take. A couple weeks when we play the Bills, we're gonna somehow beat them. Mark it down.
You think the Vikings secondary can stand up against the Bills?
Yep.
You're not worried about that. You're not worried
Nope.
about. Oh, okay, sure.
Not worried.
Oh,
Not worried
hey,
about Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs against our defense.
hey, Gabe
Why,
Davis, deep balls. Not worried about
Gabe
that.
Davis?
Humming them.
Why would I be worried?
Extra fast secondary
Why?
we have in Minnesota.
Why? Why would I even be worried?
Super fast secondary we have.
Just saying. That's my bold take. We're about to get that game done.
That's real bold. That's your bold take, maybe.
Yes.
Bold and cold.
It's gonna be our freezing cold takes when we lose 40-10.
Yeah.
In a couple of weeks. Well, speaking of the Vikings, let's talk Vikings Dolphins now. We only won by 8 versus. Okay, I didn't catch the beginning of the game. Please, Spinny, tell me why they switched to Teddy Bridgewater. Did Skylar Thompson get hurt? They were just like, okay, screw this.
Injury.
He did get hurt.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't catch the beginning of the game. All of a sudden, I saw they switched quarterbacks. I was like, well, then why wouldn't you just start Teddy Bridgewater to go?
And I think they would have done better with Skylar Thompson, if I got to be honest. They did okay with Teddy, but McDaniel's right. Like, Teddy just missed a lot of throws close.
He did.
And McDaniel said that this week. He's like, we went with Thompson because we feel like this offense needs to be practiced during the week in order to be successful in it. And it was just like Teddy was just like this much off on stuff. So it kind of did show what McDaniel said, but it was Vikings fans wise, it was a fun game, slow start, and then it seemed like everything was kind of working together. We were looking good, and then they would crack that Dalvin Cook run, and it was just like boom.
So, yeah, I was gonna say it was good to see Dalvin Cook break off a long run. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen that. Kind of looked vintage Dalvin Cookie there.
Yeah, people saying he'd be losing a step. He burned those guys.
Right.
Safety corners with a lead on him, and he burned them. So
he looked like he always has.
That's all I'm saying. It's awesome.
I hope that's him turning a page here and continues to play that well going forward because we definitely need it.
Yeah, and not the greatest passing day for Kirk, but again, ugly wins. We really love ugly wins in Minnesota because if you know how Minnesota sports goes, you don't get very many ugly wins in this state.
You don't.
When you play bad, you lose. That's just how it goes. So ugly wins are something I am very happy to come by.
Especially last year, really stands out of always happening to lose these ugly games.
We went from literally worst offense and defense in the worst point differential in the last 2 minutes of
by far
halftime in the fourth quarter by far to a top 5 right now. We were 1, but I think we got pushed out a little bit, but we're still top 5 for sure.
Yeah, so that's definitely something to follow for the Vikings going forward. If we're able to keep playing that well, I mean, we should have won 14, 15 games or whatever the ridiculous stat was if we didn't give up that many points last year.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's an idealistic stat, but still. Well, Spinny, you have anything else you want to recap before we jump to our preview?
Yeah, I just want to talk about the NFL owner situation a little bit. There was some hilarious drama going on. Jerry Jones and Bob Kraft getting into it. I would have paid money to hear those two.
Same.
Jones told Kraft, "Don't F with me," and Kraft replied, "Excuse me," and Jones said, "Don't mess with me," and that was it. That was the end of the argument. They had a heated argument, and that's how it ended. So just kind of hilarious. Jones does not want to give Goodell another contract. That's kind of what a lot of this is about. His contract's coming up here soon, or there is fear if they do, because this last contract was very incentive-based for Goodell, and now Jones made a big push about that. Like, the more money the NFL made, the more money Goodell made. And so he doesn't want Goodell, but if it is Goodell, he wants it very structured like that, and is worried it's going to be too loose to give Goodell too much money, which is hilarious coming from Jerry. But that's the Jerry side. Bob Kraft, I don't really know his thoughts on the issue. I couldn't find too much write up on that, but there was obviously some difference of opinion between Kraft and Jones there. That's thing number one. Thing number two is Jim Irsay calling out Daniel Snyder. He's the first owner to really speak publicly about the situation. He said, and I quote, "I believe there is merit to removing him as owner of the Commanders. There's consideration that he should be removed." So it's being talked about. I think it's 75% vote of the owners needed to do that. So 24 of the 32 owners have to vote in favor of that. So it's essentially 24 of the 31 owners, because Schneider's obviously going to vote to keep himself in. But it's interesting hearing an owner really come out and speak out against another owner. You don't get it very much in any sport at all, and especially in the NFL, with all the old money that exists throughout the league. Yes, and then third thing in relation to this I just thought was interesting. This is a little bit of a older piece of information, but we hadn't talked about it yet, and that's Dan Schneider and his hiring private investigators to get dirt on all the other owners reportedly, and him saying
I didn't even
that,
heard of that.
what?
No,
Oh
I
my
haven't.
gosh! Yes,
I
during this
heard of
whole
the other stuff.
investigation, this is denied by the Commanders front office, obviously, but it was I don't have the report in front of me. I think it was an Athletic report. Let me just make sure. I have it right. I thought you were gonna know it, so I wasn't gonna have to. Yeah. Or what? Ooh, New York Post, I think, originally posted it. Yeah. New York Post, picked up by ESPN. He reportedly has said they can't F with me privately. The NFL is a mafia. All the owners hate each other. And then a report from another veteran owner says that's not true. All the owners just hate Dan. So
I was gonna say, I feel like that second statement is probably a little more accurate.
yes, but it's very interesting. And who released that? Why did that come out? All that type of stuff is it's just a very interesting situation, kind of on the low, all the drama coming out of it. But it'll be interesting to see if they force Schneider to sell the team in the future.
Yeah, that's definitely a story to follow going forward. That's very interesting stuff. Moving on to our preview now. There's, unfortunately, Hardies and Hardos, we don't got a lot to talk about for our preview.
Oh my
This
goodness.
week looks pathetic in terms of matchups here. Oh my gosh. I mean, just throwing out primetime games, for example. Sunday Night Football is Steelers-Dolphins. That doesn't entice me at all. And Monday Night Football, oh my gosh, Bears and Patriots. Oh my. I don't even I probably won't even watch. I mean, knowing me, I'm gonna watch a little bit of it, but I don't even want to watch it. That just sounds terrible. It sounds like a snooze fest.
Literally such a snooze fest.
And some other matchups here. I mean, we got Lions, Cowboys, especially if Dak plays. That's not going to be a game, especially in Dallas. Falcons, Bengals. That's a random game. Packers, Commanders, Bucks, Panthers, Giants, Jags. Like, these are just gross matchups, and none of them even interest me whatsoever.
No.
The only interest I have in any of these games is just my fantasy players. That's it.
Yep.
That is it.
And no Vikes game this week, obviously.
Right.
So a lot less interest from us as far as
Right.
that goes.
No Vikes, no Eagles, no Bills. I mean, there's a lot of good teams on bye right now too, so that doesn't help either. One of the good games, or good matchups at least, we'll see if it turns out to be a good game. Probably won't, knowing division matchups so far this year, and that's the Colts and Titans. They've already played each other week 4. Titans won that one 24-17. This is obviously a battle between the running backs, right? Henry versus Taylor. As we saw in the first game, Henry was able to win that battle, and the Titans won. So I don't see this being any different. Do you? Like, it's essentially going to be whoever plays better between those two. That team will probably win, right?
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be a brutal game to watch. Matt Ryan has been brutal to watch, and
He
so
did
has
have a good game
Danielle this
last week,
year.
though.
He had a good game, but it was still not a
It was
fun
still
watch.
it was
Like,
volume driven. He had 50
yes,
some pass attempts. That's why he was able to get 300 some yards. But
yes, it was. Yeah, there was. I don't love either of these teams. I will watch this game because it's for first place in the division. It's a couple of winning record teams, but these teams are, unless you're a defensive guy, these teams are rough to watch. And there's just a lot of rough football going on in the NFL this year.
yeah,
We've I'm sure those of you have seen also on Twitter just the a 22% touchdown rate
yeah,
reduction in fantasy so far this season through 6 weeks. So that's crazy. And yeah, it's just been sloppy football. Tom Brady said in an interview, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, he's like, I just see a lot of sloppy football going around throughout the NFL, and the Bucks even fall in that category. So
right. I feel like every team falls in that category, essentially. I
Packers,
mean,
like,
yeah, I mean, I feel like, okay, we've talked about it's a good thing we get bad wins, but it's like Vikings haven't even looked that good. Like, essentially,
no,
the only teams I want to say could be wrong here: Bills and Chiefs,
and Eagles.
and Eagles, obviously being undefeated. That would be it, probably, as
No,
teams
though
that are
I think the fourth place team in the NFL is a huge step down from those top three as it's looking right now.
right through
As
through
far
6
as
weeks.
performances we've seen, yeah.
Yeah. The other good game we do want to talk about here, or we'll see if it's a good game, is Chiefs 49ers. To me, this seems an interesting spread. Chiefs are only favored by 2.5. I know they have a great defense, the 49ers, and I know they're playing at home. So I
Number
get it.
one defense.
It is number one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, they're gonna have to step up and be huge. That is, in my eyes, the only chance the 49ers have. They don't their offense is not set up to keep up with Pat Mahomes. Being a run dominant offense, they're gonna have to really control the clock, and their defense is gonna have to be great and keep Mahomes off the field for the 49ers to have a chance in this one.
We know what Shanahan does when he has Jimmy Garoppolo. He runs the ball 60 to 65% of the time.
Yep.
It's throw and play action. You ask him to make big plays once in a while, and you control the clock. That's the method to beat the Chiefs, I think, as well. As long as you can, you got to score 24 points. But I think, given the way the offense is structured, that's possible. They just have to, have their guys step up. We finally got Ayuk and Kittle and Samuel back together, ready to go this week. So hopefully they can, Jimmy can use those weapons better than he has been and make their offense productive at least.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm definitely going to tune into that one. That's a 3:30 game on Sunday. So I believe it's even game of the week. Could be wrong. But given it's 3:30 on Fox, I believe it's the game of the week. One last thing we're going to talk about here, Hardies and Hardos, for a little preview. Obviously, we know the Vikings aren't playing this week, but we might as well talk about some thoughts for the Vikes going forward. They are 5-1, obviously, so that's great so far. Their next 6 opponents: Cardinals, Commanders, Bills, Cowboys, Patriots, and Jets. So, I mean, especially based on how the Cardinals have been playing thus far, I would say out of those 6 games, 4 of them are extremely winnable. The toughest ones, obviously, being the Bills and Cowboys. So I mean, I want to say 9-3. My expectations after Week 12. I think we can drop the Bills and Cowboys game as long as we win those other 4. I would be happy with that.
Yeah,
I would.
4-2 in the next 6. I think
Yeah,
that's doable. That puts us at 9-3, and I think that's a good shape to be a top, 2-3 seed. I think it's going to be hard to catch the Eagles at this point, given their schedule going forward. But I think 2 or 3 could be definitely a doable situation. And if we can play one of those lower teams in the NFC, we might have a shot to win around.
yeah, that would be incredible. I guess coming out of the bye, obviously going into buys, that's when you make your changes and fix things that's going wrong. Spinny, what would you say is the one thing you want to see fixed or at least improved going forward?
Sorry, can you ask me that one more time? Fixed or improved? What fixed or improved going forward?
Yeah, what do you prefer to see either completely fixed or at least improved in regards to the Vikings going forward?
Vikings. Consistent pass rush would be nice.
Thank you.
Not
That's
so up and
exactly what I was
down.
going to say.
And the reason I say that over the bigger problem, which is our defensive backs' inability to play, is I don't think you can make that better. I just
Right.
don't think we're talented enough on the back end, which means that our talented guys up front have to consistently be better for us to be successful. That's just how the team is built. Patrick Peterson can do a decent job, but he's old and slow. So once you get more top of the league receivers, I think he struggles a bit more, obviously. I think other than him, we're going to struggle. Cam Bynum's done well so far. I think he's unproven. Harrison has definitely lost a step coverage-wise. So I worry about that the most, but I think the way to fix that is the more consistency on the front end, which has a higher likelihood of actually happening.
Yeah, I completely agree. Those are my thoughts as well. I mean, like you said, can't really fix non-talented players. Like if our secondary is just not very good, then I mean that sucks for us. You can't really make guys better. It'd be interesting to see if Donatello throws out some more blitz packages and things going forward. I feel like we've just been blitzing our front four only for the vast majority of the time, and when that's not getting it done, we gotta try something new. So yeah, I think a more consistent pass rush is definitely the number one thing I want to see fixed going forward.
Yeah, and I did like the sideline to sideline play the Vikings had this week. I think that's how you have to run the Donatello defense. You have to play extended. You have to play fast. You have to play ready to move either way. And Kendricks literally fits that perfectly. I think it's just been
Absolutely.
hard for us to step up into that. And I think last week against Hill and Waddle, two guys that can make that very, very hard. I think we did a good job. Again, it was a backup quarterback. And the better quarterbacks we face this year have cut us up. So I'm a little worried about that. But what I've seen so far is when we can get a pass rush to guys, we're doing well. When we can't, we're not. Other than us giving Jalen Hurts his favorite pass every play of the game for that whole first half. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Okay. Well, that is it. That's all we got for you, Hearties and Hardos, for our recap/preview for this upcoming week. Hopefully these NFL games, at least, obviously college football's got a solid slate. Hopefully these NFL games at least turn out to be better games than on paper. That's all we can hope for going into this weekend.
Definitely.
Well, we don't have any Q&A, and obviously we skipped trivia this week, this episode, given it's just Spinny and I. So, Spinny, if you have any closing thoughts, otherwise we'll end the episode and get our Hearties and Hardos out of here.
Yeah, keep checking out our content. 3 videos out this week: NBA preview, fantasy football, and this one that you're listening to. So let us know what you think. Comment, subscribe, and check out our content. Bye.
We'll see y'all next week. Go Timberwolves.